In this recording, I want to talk about creating a raster that represents the categories of a layer. So we will not do any mathematics. We're not making any kind of an average or an interpolation. We are taking the polygons and converting them into a raster representation. In the example on the screen, then a soil D will have a number that represents it, but it stands for the category D soil. A C will have a different number, a B will have a different number. As in any raster operation, the first step will be to make sure the extension is turned on. So I go to Customize, Extensions, and I indeed need to turn on Spatial Analyst. Close. I'm going to use Model Builder, and so I want to create a model in a conveniently located file geodatabase. To do that, I'll open a catalog window. I have a file geodatabase on my C drive, which is a good place for me to use. I've made a toolbox in there already. It has a different model. I'm going to say New Model. And this will be my raster building model. I renamed it inside the geodatabase to rastercat. Before I go too far, I want to make sure that I have the environment settings set up. So I'm going to hit Model Properties and hit Environments. This allows me to set cell size and mask. I could assign a mask at this point if I wanted to. Most often I will. In fact, the black circle, which is a 5-mile buffer around a feature I'm interested in, is going to be my mask. And so all of the operations will happen inside that mask. I'm also going to check workspace and make sure that I have my geodatabase inside my ctemp as the workspace in the scratch space, because that will make, remember, a 10% boost over a typical network drive in speed. So those are set. Now I need a tool. I'm looking at conversion tools. I'm converting to raster. I'm going polygon to raster. So I have a soil polygon layer, and I'm converting it to a raster representation of the same polygons. It asks me what value field, in other words, which of the different columns will be converted into the numerical values in the raster. So you need to kind of know this in advance. Maybe look at the table. So my column is going to have A, B's, and C's in it, and those are going to get converted into numerical representations. I have to give it a name. Oh, I also need to remember to add to display so that I can see my results. I'm ready. I think I'll save this and then I'll run it. After a declared runtime of 41 seconds, which seems to take 2 or 3 minutes for it to accumulate, I've finished. I'm going to look at the display and see what I have. Turn off the soils, and now I'll see my, clean this out of the way. The first thing that I see is that my mask failed. It created data outside the mask. I have to remember that in the future. The other thing that's important to look at, when we looked at the shapefile, we have a B soil, and then we have a C soil, and we have a D soil. So those were changed into some numerical representation and made into a raster. And in this case, this one up here is a 1, this one is a 2, and this is a 3. So if I'd had an A soil somewhere, I might make the assumption that A was 1, B is 2, C is 3, that's not what's happening here. We need to check in our projects to make sure we know what number is associated with the values. So I've opened the table of the raster, and it it retained the information that I started with, so that now I know that a B is a 1, a C is a 2, and a D is a 3. Why is this important? Well, it could be that I need to process based on these values, and I need to be able to go back and understand if I do something with all the rasters that are pixel value 1, that I'm dealing with the B soil. And you must not assume that ArcGIS will give a 1 to the one you want. You may have to control it. A way to control it would have been in the original polygon. We could have put a column in here where we have the numbers we want, and we could have rasterized this based on that column. So for this operation of creating a category raster, where the raster is just a representation of the polygons, I'm done.